I'm in the building tonight. We gotta talk about Kamala Harris tonight. She talking about running again. Can you believe this, mammy? Sit down, mammy. Sit down. Hey. When is this mammy gonna sit down? You need to sit down, Kamala. It's over. Go get yourself a Snickers bar and sit down. We're gonna talk about it tonight. Her and her best friend Joe Biden called on her birthday.
She fucking on the damn crew. Coming out of sock, she lost her damn shoe. Her friend and poppin', she ain't got no damn clue. Rollin' O's and weed and smoking bamboo. Smoking gelato when the Tahoe smell the fucking jar. She wanna ride with me cause we look like some movie stars. The stody moving faster than a speeding car. Coming through the door with no panties on. Poppin' Molly's and you know she took a Zanny bar. Talking about a Mazda is a family car. I hit her with a curve, then the coup de grace. Zillow games, I'm shaking up the dice, baby. She wanna stay with me so we can make the night, baby. She wanna be with me so I can lay the pipe, baby. I'm only out here for the night, baby. I'm only out here for the night, baby. Ferragamo on my chest, I'm looking right, baby. She wanna link, I'm only out here for the night, baby. In Puerto Rico, Casamigos with the Sprite, baby. She wanna fuck with the scammers, talk to me nice, baby. She hit the bottle and I hold this wobble wobble. This thought he fucking for a fight, the cobble wobble. African swing, hit the spin, hit the throttle. She wanna fuck with the gangsters, talk to me nice, baby.
Welcome to the Check-In Report. I am your humble yet gracious host, trueandlivin. I am in the building. I'm not your homie. I'm the one and only macaroni. Hold on, y'all. We are here today to talk about Miss Kamala Harris after her failure, her absolute failure, running for president, trying to win the hearts and the minds of America, and she epically failed. You know, and listen, I'm not going to just say it was Kamala Harris's fault. You know, she had 90 days to run a campaign. And let's just be honest. I'm gonna shoot her a little bit of bail here. There was no feasible way that she was going to win the hearts and the minds and the acceptance of America within 90 days. You know, with the team she had, you know, I have to admit, she picked a poor team. She had Joe Biden's old roster. And essentially, you know, Joe Biden, his administration and the people that was running his campaign, they were older men. They were running a campaign for an old, genital baby boomer like Joe Biden. They wasn't running a campaign for a multiculturalist woman. They wasn't running that. So there was no way that they could translate that old baby boomer, you know, Joe Biden campaign and try to, you know, remix it into a Kamala Harris campaign. There was no way that they were going to, you know, do a full 360, you know, running that campaign for Kamala. So I will give her that. But there are talks of Kamala allegedly running for president in 2028. Now, me personally, let me just lay some things out here. And there's a bevy of things that were talked about in this interview. If you don't know, Kamala Harris is doing interviews. She's promoting her new book where she talks about, you know, her presidency, her role. She talked about how Joe Biden let her down. She still considers him a friend, and we're going to get into all of that. It's very interesting. It's very interesting the things that she said. She feels let down. She feels let down by Joe Biden, and she said some interesting things in terms of, did she think that Joe Biden wanted her to win? And I thought what she said was interesting. Me personally, I don't think Joe Biden wanted her to win. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think Joe Biden. I don't think Jim Crow Joe wanted her to win. I think when Jim Crow Joe, when he put that MAGA hat on, y'all remember that we put that MAGA. I may have to play that clip. When Jim Crow Joe put that MAGA hat on, I thought that the nail was in the coffin, in my opinion. The nail was relatively in the coffin. The fact that you have the person that is running, a campaign against another political opponent, right? So Joe Biden was the side B to Trump's side A, and here you have a political opponent who stepped down for you to come into the way, and instead of doing everything to support you and back you, he puts a MAGA hat on. It was absolutely bad PR. Joe Biden was doing a lot of things to undermine the Kamala Harris campaign. He was doing a lot of things that were not helping her win, helping her facilitate the amount of votes that she needed. He was doing things that were antithetical to making her and helping her win. You know? We didn't need Joe Biden on the campaign trail. Joe Biden needed to sit his ass down somewhere, give Kamala his fullest support, give her all the economic money that she needed, give her the support that she needed. That's all he had to do. He was doing too much. Putting on MAGA hats. Everybody questioning your mental state. How long has the president been mentally been incapable of doing his job? It was bad PR after bad PR after bad PR. He didn't want to step down in time for her to prepare a campaign for her to run. He was doing nonsense after nonsense to undermine her. But here in this interview, she talked about Joe Biden. She talked about a couple things, and I wanted to just talk about it. I wanted to get into it, and ultimately, I want to hear from you guys. Do you think that Kamala Harris should run another term? Do you ultimately think that she should be running again? A lot of people feel that it's time for some new faces. It's time for some new people to come and to pretty much put their bid in. It can't just be about Kamala all the time. It can't just be about the Democrats all the time. It can't just be about these people. We need new faces, and I do think that, and we're gonna play the video shortly. But I do think that we do need new faces for the Democrats. They're not doing a good job in terms of new faces. We need to get away from the old faces of the Democrats. We need to get away from the old faces, the Hillary Clintons, just the Bill Clintons, the Barack Obamas, the Kamalas, the Joe Bidens. All of those old Democratic faces, the Nancy Pelosi's. It's time for the Bernie Sanders. I'm gonna even say Bernie Sanders needs to go somewhere. We need a younger Bernie Sanders. We need a new, improved Bill Clinton. We need a new, improved Hillary. We need a new, improved. We need people. We need new faces in the Democratic Party. Because people don't believe in the Democrats anymore. They don't believe in it. And I think that, if Kamala were to run, like let's say if the presidential race was next year, I know it's in 2028, but if the presidential race was in 2028, I don't think the Democrats have anybody. They don't have anybody. Who they got? Hakeem Jeffries. Who they got? What? Jasmine Crockett. You really think that those fools could take on the MAGA, could take on the powerful MAGA right now? MAGA is winning right now. And yes, there are people that are unhappy. There are people that are struggling under a Donald Trump presidency. There are people that are mad, the SNAP benefits, the governmental shutdown. Right now, New York is flooding. Infrastructure is collapsing. There are a lot of people unhappy, but people are not happy with the Democratic Party. They're not happy with them.
Fire! Fire! Fire!
They're not happy with the Democratic Party. So yeah, is Donald Trump somebody that I want to be back in office? Is Donald Trump a person I want to have a third term? Do I believe in a J.D. Vance presidency? Most people would say no, but that seems more feasible than a Democratic, ran America for a lot of people. And it's just the Democratic Party, they just don't have it together. They have never been this aloof. They have never been this so unsure of themselves. They don't know what they don't know what agendas to attach themselves to. They don't know what to believe in. They tried to empower the immigrants. America rebuked them. They tried to, embold themselves and make align themselves with the LGBTQ. America rebuked them again. So the Democrats have never been so unsure of themselves. Instead of working with these people, instead of actually helping these communities that have empowered them for decades, like the Black America, who have empowered the Democrats for decades, instead of doing things that would help the community, not giving them statues of George Floyd, not giving them, celebratory tokens, but actually giving them change. They have rejected the change of giving Black America, and they have never done right by Black America. So Black America, in turn, has rebuked the Democratic Party. Black America doesn't believe in the Democratic Party anymore. Brown people, the Hispanic race, they don't believe in the Democratic Party anymore. The LGBTQ, if we're going to be honest about the LGBTQ has always been splinter cells. They have always been double agents. There are LGBT people in the conservative party. Hardcore conservative people in that party. Right? So they've always been splinter cells. So they've aligned themselves with LGBTQ. LGBTQ don't care about the Democrats. Right? I'm just keeping it a buck. Just keeping it real. And let me know what you guys think. I want to know, do you think Kamala should ultimately run another campaign? Do you think that she should run another, another presidential race? Do you think of this time America, if she had, and I know I'm talking a lot, but I just want people to come in. I want to talk, lay out some ideas, lay out some principles before we get into the content. Do you think if Kamala, right? Do you think if Kamala had the preparation time, had the time, had the will to sit down with a Joe Rogan, to sit down with all of the different people, to not have the edited interviews, but to have the full interviews unedited, unredacted, sit down with the people that she needed to sit down with, talk about the issues, talk about the things she wanted to do, implemented the changes. Do you think with the right preparation time, if she were to go through the primaries, if she were to win, the amount of, votes that she needed to get to the next step, to get to the Democratic nomination, do you think that this woman could win against, hypothetically, a J.D. Vance? Do you think that she would be able to win? I want to know. Does she have the willpower? Does she have the strength? Does she have the articulation? Is she just gonna do these little weak giggly laughter? When the hard questions come. Is she gonna give us a bunch of word salad when we ask her the tough questions? Do you believe in a Kamala Harris campaign if she were to run again? But let's get back into this video. This is Kamala Harris. She did an interview. She's talking about her new book, and she's talking about Joe Biden, the strained relationship. Let's get into this clip right here with Kamala Harris talking about Joe Biden, different things. Let's get into it. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, y'all. I think, okay. Yeah, I think I was Give me 1 second, y'all. All right, that's good. Let's get into it.
Yes.
Is the relationship good?
1 second, y'all.
What they want. It's a good relationship. I just talked to him.
She's talking about her relationship with Joe Biden. Is your relationship with Joe Biden strained, right?
2 days ago. He called me for my birthday.
He called her for her birthday. Joe Biden gave her a little ring-a-ding-ding on her birthday, you know? She, Joe Biden, he wanted to call that mammy up, talk about the good work she's done. Let's continue.
Is it complicated?
Yes, it's very complicated.
Doesn't it sound like a bad relationship? Doesn't sound like she's talking about her coworker. Doesn't sound like she's talking about, somebody, her boss, somebody that she was working. It sounds like a strained relationship. Like Joe Biden broke her heart. That's what it sounds like to me. Let's continue though.
It is. And as I write in the book, it is very complicated. I have a great deal of affection for him. And there were times that I've been quite candid about where he greatly disappointed me.
Greatly disappointed her. How do y'all think Kamala was greatly disappointed by Jim Crow Joe? What did Jim Crow Joe do to Kamala? Kamala, let's keep it real. You kind of undermined Joe Biden. You undermined him. You Skeletor face. That's Nancy Pelosi. And the deceiver. That's Barack Obama. You guys colluded to get him out of the White House, to get him out of the Oval Office. You three colluded to get it, so of course he would feel away. He wasn't ready to step down. You made the decision for him. Maybe he wasn't ready to step down. Maybe he wasn't ready. Even though some people say his mental capacity was gone. He didn't have all his tools together. He didn't have all his mental faculties together, but he was not ready, Kamala. You made that decision for him. You called up old Skeletor face, Nancy Pelosi, and Pimp Daddy Obama, and you colluded to get him out the White House. You said, Jim Crow Joe, you gotta go. Go pack up your ice cream. Pack up your dentures. It's time to go, Jim Crow Joe. It's time to go. You ain't talking about the time you greatly disappointed him. He thought he had a mammy that was going to hold him down. He thought he had a mammy that was going to at least say, you know what? No, Jim Crow Joe has his mental faculties together. Jim Crow Joe is the best person to run. You did not have his back. When it came down to it, Nancy Pelosi, she called the shots. She said, listen, we got to get rid of Jim Crow Joe. What can we do? What can we do to get him out of there? Instead of being a good mammy and stand by your man best as you can. Instead of standing by your president, right? Standing by him and assuring everyone that, no, I'm not going to run a campaign. We're going to stand next to Joe. And even though Jim Crow Joe looked it bad and people were saying a lot, about his mental faculties, I will say that, if you guys would have at least stood by Joe, it probably would have been a better look. It was very weak when the Democrats did that, when the Democrats ultimately decided that we're going to go in a different direction, we're going to have Jim Crow Joe step down, it looked weak. It looked like everything that the Republicans were saying about his mental faculties being gone, about the Democrats, colluding to get him out of the White House, it made everything make sense, and it made them look right. So the Democrats looked weak at that point in time. So instead of you standing by Jim Crow Joe, you decided to collude with Nancy Pelosi because what? Because what, Kamala? You wanted the presidential seat. You wanted that. You wanted that. Because think about it. Before Jim Crow Joe allowed you to have that vice presidency role, you was losing in every primary. Nobody took you serious. Nobody looked at you as a serious presidential candidate. You got that job as a DEI hire. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck, Kamala. I'm not saying that you're not an accomplished woman, but you got the vice presidency role as a DEI hire. Black woman wanted to see somebody of color in that seat. People wanted to see a woman in that seat. So the Democrats, thinking that they were going to be progressive, thinking that they were going to be of the future, we're going to give a woman a shot at the vice presidency role, they elected you. You didn't get that job because you were the best person for that job. You were the best person for that role. You got that job as a DEI hire. So you should be thanking Joe. You're talking about you were disappointed. You should be thanking Joe that he even gave you that position. Fire! 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 You got that job on a whim. You got that job as a DEI hire. You got that job because you were just a multiculturalist woman. You didn't get that job because you were the best person for that job. Let's just keep it a buck, Kamala. We're going to keep it real. So you're sitting up here talking about you're disappointed in Joe. He's disappointed in you. He should be. He should be. He should be. Let's continue.
And frankly, angered me.
Wow, he angered you? Jim Crow Joe angered you?
Yeah.
Can you give me context on that, where he disappointed and angered you?
I would love to hear that too.
So I write, and I thought about this. Was I going to write about it or not? And I decided in writing this book I was going to just be honest. And these are the facts, and the reader can take.
Are you friends with Joe Biden?
I want to hear what was she's so mad about it. I want to hear.
On the day of the debate, my debate with Trump.
Okay.
And, so going into a presidential debate is an incredibly intense and intensive project, including what has historically happened that we even call debate camp.
Yeah, and let's be clear, that first debate with Jim Crow Joe and Trump, it was a shellacking. It was an absolute bloodbath. Trump, figuratively put the boots to Jim Crow Joe's backside. Jim Crow Joe, his mental faculties were in question. He was stumbling and fumbling and bumbling. At one point, it didn't seem like he knew where he was even at. Right? So, and that's ultimately why they went with Kamala after that debate. So then after, and the debate that Trump had with Kamala, I thought that was a decent debate. I don't think anyone won that debate, but it didn't really. I really think that Kamala would have done better if there was a third debate. But Trump really had the power in that situation, because at his easy point was what he went with was, this is my second debate. First I debated Jim Crow Joe, got him up out of here, packed him up. Then I'm debating you. I don't have to do a third debate. I've already debated twice. It's not my fault that Jim Crow Joe decided to step down. I'm not doing another debate. So one of the most smartest tactics that Trump used was to say, I'm not doing a third debate. It made the Democratic Party look weak. It made the Democratic Party look weak. It made them look weak. It made them look like they didn't know what they were doing. It made them look like they were unorganized. It made them look like, just like they were out of place, out of touch. It was chaos going on in the White House. Everything was in question. The Biden's mental faculties, who's been running the country, what's going on at the border. All of these things were at play. All these questions were being, talked about at that particular time. And ultimately, it wasn't enough for you to win. Let's continue, though.
You imagine, and it's no camp at all. It's going into where you basically are sequestered for a period of time immediately before
Talking about
the debate.
getting prepped.
And so debate camp.
She's talking about getting prepped.
Was
for the debate that she had with Trump.
This intense, basically a preparation process where your team will basically they'll break you and then build you back up. So the day of the debate was after that intense period of preparation. And then that morning I had a meeting with my team. I thought it was going to be more prep, but they actually were what they want from it. On the day of the debate, my debate with Trump, and just basically said to me, "You're ready." Hair and makeup got done. I'm in the hotel room with Doug, with my husband, and the president calls. And I was told that he wanted to call me so that I'd be ready. And I was so sure it was to buck me up and go get him. And he did say that for the first beat. And then he went on to talk about a group of people in Pennsylvania who were saying bad things about me because they heard I was saying bad things about him. And
yeah, because let's be honest, Kamala, keep it a buck. See, Kamala, I think Kamala, and that's the thing about, let me say this about Kamala. I think one of the reasons why she didn't translate to the American people and why people didn't want to vote for her is she comes off as very unauthentic. Very unauthentic. The reality is this, Kamala, when you were on campaign trail, you was kicking in Jim Crow Joe's back, bro. You was trying to, disengage, trying to disassociate yourself. Oh, that's his presidency. That's not mine. That's not how I would run the office. You were trying to, almost trying to separate yourself from him. Instead of standing by him, instead of saying all of the great work that he did and how you support him and, and how you should have just been standing on the shoulders of this man who empowered you, gave you great opportunities, you decided to kind of step away, to try to disengage from him. And I think he picked up on that. And of course, we have to talk about the colluding. I'm sure he felt that you were colluding. I'm sure Jill Biden spoke in his ear and told him, yeah, that little mammy that you're empowered. Kamala Harris, she's colluding with Nancy Pelosi and Biden to get you up out of the White House. I'm sure those conversations were had. So, I think that's one of the biggest issues about Kamala. She comes off as very unauthentic. She comes off as fake, phony. You're talking about how Jim Crow Joe called you. He called you, to give you some positive reaffirmations. And yes, he talked about, what you were saying about, but maybe it was just a temperature check. He was trying to figure out why you kicking in his back in. I'm doing everything to help you. You kicking in my back, mammy. Here I am, holding you down. We all know you didn't do nothing. We all know you didn't do nothing at the border. We all know you dropped the ball on the border. We all know you didn't do what was right at the border. We all know that you were being a terrible vice president. I'm not kicking in your back. Salute to Wadaya. Salute to Wadaya. Let me put that up there. He says, yeah. Salute to Wadaya. You know what I mean? He wasn't kicking in her back. He was holding her down, right? He was holding her down. I never heard Biden kicking her back and say, oh, well, she wasn't doing no work at the border. She wasn't the border czar. I've never heard him kicking her back. kicking her back. She tried to disassociate herself from this man. She tried to say, nah, that's not my presidency, and no, that's not how I would run things, and no, it was all Joe Biden. It's Joe Biden's presidency. I'm just a mammy. I'm just a mammy in training. You know? So I'm just keeping it real. That's pretty much what the conversations were at that time. She tried to disassociate herself from Joe Biden. But let's continue. But she don't want to take responsibility for that. And I think that is one of the reasons why people didn't vote for her. She comes off as very inauthentic. She comes off as very phony, fake, contrived. And the American people saw right through that. They saw through the fake smiles. They saw through the word salads, the phony laughter. They saw all through that. And then you add on top of you not wanting to sit down with a Joe Rogan, you not wanting to sit down with particular people, you were scared to have the conversations, you wanted the interview to be edited and redacted. All of that played into the factor of you and people thinking that you were fake, phony, and contrived. That's why you lost, Kamala. Not because you had 90 days to run a campaign, not because of Jim Crow Joe and he messed up your campaign. It was you.
Fire! 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 Fire!
And I'm not saying that those other things that I mentioned weren't contributing factors. They were contributing factors. But ultimately, it came down to you, Kamala. People were not a fan of you. You were the reason that you lost, not anybody else. You. Let's continue though.
And when I hung up the phone, it was unbelievable. And I was angry and deeply disappointed. It just.
Here she was kicking in his back, disassociating herself from Jim Crow Joe, not helping him out, not holding him down, not everybody's questioning his mental faculties. She's not reassuring people. She's not saying, no, Jim Crow Joe is great. There's nothing wrong with his mental faculties. He just wants to step down because he wants to give me a shot. None of that was said. It was more so, no, I'm disassociating myself. Yeah, there's this position of power, and we're trying to exchange it. We're trying to, it was almost like, she just didn't want nothing to do with it. She didn't want to make it seem like she was a VP, and she was a part of that presidency. She wanted to disassociate herself, and I think that Joe Biden picked up on it.
It was so unnecessary. There are only two people in the world other than me that has debated this guy. Hillary Clinton, and just basically said to me, you're ready. And him. And you know what it's like. It's going into a debate with the stakes being that high and Trump hadn't agreed to another debate.
Like I said, I think that was the smartest thing that Trump did. The smartest thing Trump did was not debate her a third time. Well, not her a third time, but debate her a second time. That was the smartest thing. Because the optics of not debating her again, it made it look crazy for the Democrats. Because look, Democrats, you put yourself in that predicament. You put yourself in the predicament where you had a president whose mental faculties were in question, right? Y'all ultimately kick him out of that position, and you have Kamala come into that position. You only give her 90 days to run a campaign. Ultimately, she does her campaign. She has Meg come out at the rally shaking her ass. You got all this other coonism, people tap dancing. And then it comes down to another debate, and then he only debates her once. It didn't really matter if Trump won that debate. Trump could have lost that debate. He could have fell flat on his face and lost that debate. I still think he would have won. Because it made the Democrats look inept. It made the Democrats look unorganized. It made the Democrats look like they didn't know what they were doing. Here, I'm debating two different candidates now. I'm debating two different people running for the same position. It made them look ridiculous. So that was one of the smartest things Trump did, was not debate her a second time.
The stakes were so high. So that's an example of what I mean.
you took something from that. You took an underlying message about one's intentions from that, because I would. If someone called me in the lead up to debate prep and said something like that to me, I would assume that they don't want the best for me.
My takeaway is his motivation was all about himself.
I agree. I think it was, but I think that motivation of it being all about himself is because he's done so much for you. That's why he did that. I think so. I think that Joe Biden felt like he'd done a lot. He done a lot for Kamala. And he was probably hurt that you was taking this position of kind of kicking in his back and kind of separating. She that's what I'm saying. She comes off as very inauthentic.
That's what I would assume from that.
Yeah.
I would assume that.
Yeah, right. Obviously, right. Yeah. It wasn't about my performance at the debate.
Do you think he wanted you to win the election?
Of course not. He did not want her to win. He did not want her to win. It was obvious. Y'all remember when he put on the MAGA hat? Let me put that on the screen. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember when Jim Crow Joe put the MAGA hat on? Hold on. Let me see if I can pull that up. Jim Crow Joe, MAGA hat. When he put this MAGA hat on, I was like, yo, it's over. It's over. When he put the MAGA hat on, when he put this MAGA hat on, I was like, yo, it is over. It's over for the Democrats. When he put this damn MAGA hat on, I was just like, yo, it's over. He does not want this woman to win. Y'all remember this? Tell me y'all remember this. Hold on.
My presidential hat. Presidential seal on it.
You gonna autograph it?
Oh, sure, I'll autograph it. There you go, man. I need that hat.
You want my autograph?
Hell no.
You know my name. Come on.
I ain't going that far.
Yeah. You said you would do a selfie. There you go.
Well, now, why would Joe Biden do that? Why would Jim Crow Joe put on the damn MAGA hat? Here you got Kamala running around the country, trying to get votes, going up to the rally. She got Meg Thee Stallion shaking a little doodle maker. She got Beyonce coming out. She got Cardi B coming out. Glorilla, Patti LaBelle. All these different celebrities coming out, supporting her. Barack Obama came out there. She's doing all the work, spending all this damn money. And you come out at some rally, or somewhere, and you put a damn MAGA hat. What was he thinking? This is when I knew it was over for the Democrats. I was like, yo, they're not winning. If you got Jim Crow Joe putting on a MAGA hat, how could she possibly win? How could the Democrats be possibly being taken seriously? How?
Hey, I'm proud of you now. You old fart.
He sunned him. I'm proud of you now. How could the Democrats be taken seriously?
Just remember, no eating dogs and cats.
Yeah, that was just bad PR. When he put that hat on, that was just bad, Joe Biden, he wasn't thinking, Everybody was questioning his mental faculties at that point in time. Why would he do that? Why would he, Everybody was saying that. Let's continue, though.
I do, because I was the only one who would be able to preserve his life and him. And you know what it's like. It's going.
But even that's about him.
Well, if I had to assume one of the reasons why he'd want me to win. And of course, that this all wouldn't be happening. I don't think anybody who cares about the future of the country the democracy or even just protecting the Constitution of the United States would have wanted this.
But even that's about him.
Well, the first thing is that we had empty pads on our podium.
She's talking about the debate now. Now we're getting into the debate.
And in the debate camp, and then therefore when I walked on stage after I shook his hand and went back to my podium, I wrote a smiley face. And because I just decided I was going to have fun. Because one of the things about these kinds of debates in particular is the person who's having fun wins.
That's so true. We watched it back
Right?
the other day, and
You
you're
did?
smiling,
Uh-huh.
and you
It didn't look like she was having fun to me. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I didn't get that feeling like she was having fun up there. She looked at I think that she would have done better in a second debate, but I don't think that, she looked like she was having fun. In my opinion.
you look like you're enjoying it, and he looks frustrated.
Yeah.
So that was intentional, was to,
Yeah.
if you look like you're having fun,
Well, have fun, but though not just look, because I think it's very difficult to look like you're having fun if you're not, right?
yeah, okay.
So you've got to find, you have to, this is true for life. You got to see the humor in it. Otherwise, it's just going to undo you, especially if you're dealing with heavy stuff. You've got to. Well, the first thing is that we had empty pad in it. And, like when he pulled out the cats and dogs thing, I couldn't even believe it. I couldn't, because here's what happened. So I didn't know that this was being said, right?
Let's give context for anyone that doesn't know.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
right. Haitian immigrants, regardless of their legal status, in Ohio, were eating their pets.
Yeah, that was crazy. But I will say, the Democrats tried to lie. That is a custom in that country. In that country, people do eat cats. People do eat dogs. In a lot of these third world countries, if the family goes starving, if the family cannot eat, and I'm not saying that in particular that was the case with what happened in that state and why that happened, but in a lot of these countries, the Democrats, they tried to lie. That does happen in a lot of these third world countries where they will eat a stray cat. They will eat a dog, a family dog, if there's no food in the house. So they try to make it sound like, no, that's not happening. No, that does happen. And it's not totally impossible of it happening. Let's continue though.
Yeah.
Cats and dogs.
Yeah.
So I hadn't even heard about it because I'm in debate camp, right? And then 2 members of my team see him get off his Trump plane with the main purveyor of this nonsense. And then they realize if she's on the plane with him, it is very possible last thing he heard was this thing. So they last minute tell me, by the way, a lot in it. Them call me boss because it's like, this is what you do in law enforcement, and it just stuck, right? Hey, boss, we got to tell you something. We didn't mention it to you. There's this whole thing that they're saying on that side about Haitian immigrants eating cats and dogs. And I was like, are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. No, but it's what they're saying, so just it may come up in the debate. Sure enough, it did. But see, here's the thing that I would say to you, Stephen, that again, one of the reasons I wrote the book is also there are lessons to be learned from those 107 days to be applied today. I believe that part of what is the method is say the outrageous thing. Then everyone is going to focus on that outrageous thing. And meanwhile, this is happening. Right? And so, meanwhile...
Misdirection.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And misdirection includes them call me boss. By the way, talking about immigrants eating cats and dogs and not talking about what's your plan for working Americans to bring down the prices. So then the press covers that whole thing.
But Kamala, that was your job to do that. Kamala, I don't think Kamala fully understood, everything that goes into a presidential campaign. Yes, Kamala, you are going to have to go uphill, and you're going to have to, you know, put people's focus on the issues. Um, are people going to gravitate to the more salacious stories? Of course they are. But it's your job to be charismatic enough to get through that, get people's focus on what's important, be galvanizing and charismatic enough to have people believe in what you're saying. And in reality, you did not have the charisma. You did not have the tenacity. You did not have, you didn't have the people's eye. You didn't have the hearts and the minds of the American people. And you did a poor job in taking that because I will admit, Kamala, it does sound ridiculous. That whole story, it does sound ridiculous. It does sound like a ridiculous story. It does sound like something ridiculous. Trump would probably say. Y'all tried to make it sound like it would be absolutely impossible for immigrants to do something like that when it's not. But it does sound like a ridiculous story, I will admit. You didn't do a good job on redirecting people's focus and being charismatic enough to have people see for what it was. You didn't do a good job at that. It was your fault.
And not, where was his plan for bringing down prices? By the way, talking about immigrants eating.
Do you regret running without only 107 days notice? Do you wish you hadn't ran?
No, I don't regret running. I wish we had more time. I truly wish we had more time. Truly wish we had more time. I don't regret running.
Had you known the outcome, would you have still ran?
I think she would have done a little bit better if she had more time. I agree with her on that. I think that she would have done a little bit better, but I think that the results would have been the same, in my opinion.
Probably because, one of the things that happened, and to this day, men and women, girls and boys come up to me and say there was something about that campaign that excited something in them. I can't tell you the number of people who have come up to me and said, I decided to run for office because you ran. The number of people who have come up to me and said, I decided to go to law school because you inspired me with the number of people who have told me about their young children who, saw something and got excited.
Do you regret running without only...
Hold on,
And wanted to be a part of it. I don't regret any of that. I absolutely believe that we turned something on. No, in fact, I'm going to say this differently because it's not like people didn't have it in them. They had it in them. But there was something that those 107 days did to welcome, to invite, to grow the optimism and, dare I say, the joy that people do carry with them. And what I hope to do with my voice right now is to remind everyone, please don't let your spirit be defeated. We may not have won the election, but our spirit can't be defeated because then they really win. And sometimes the fight takes a while, right? So I don't regret having run in spite of the outcome. But I do regret that we did not have more time. I didn't want it to be.
So let me know what y'all think. Would you vote for Kamala if she were to run again? Do you think that she should ultimately run? Do you think that she should ultimately salute to TTV? Do you ultimately think that she should run again? Do you think that she should run again? Do you think that she should run for another race? Do you give her a better shot? Let me know in the comment section. Ultimately, I just want to come in here and talk about this topic a little bit, give y'all something to talk about. I'll probably do another live today. Salute to everybody that's in the chat. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think? Do you think Kamala should run for another term in office? We are out. You guys have